Okay, there we go. All right, there's Danielle, folks. Here we go. Yep. Okay, we're live in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. No, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Yep. Okay, we are live. Obviously, sunny out. We're going to be doing Road Patrol Live later. I want to touch on that also, by the way. How about the Coventry news? You know, that plays into exactly what I've been talking about, as a matter of fact. We're going to talk about that. This bridge situation. I can't believe the gun arrest in North Providence. Too funny. Certainly looks like an antique. All right, don't forget, if you're going to the home show this weekend, make sure you stop by and see our friends at Dreammaker. They will, in fact, be there. I'm going to give that information in just a moment. That was pretty good last night. That was pretty good. For a Wednesday night, I mean, think about that. What else was going on in the 401? Not much. I'll tell you that much. Nope, not a lot. But we go where the action is. Okay, and we're live in just a moment. Yep. There we go. Hola. Okay. We are standing by. Yes, we are. Yep. At 106. 106. Yes, it is. On this, it's Thursday, November 14th. This is the real news. Folks, good afternoon. Sunny outside. The nice weather continues. Little chilly, but that's okay. It's dry. We'll take it. I know people are saying it's a drought. I'm trying to figure out what's the bad news with that. All right, so what? It's a drought. This portion of the program of the real news at 1, folks, brought to you by Dreammaker. Now, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. If you're considering improving your kitchen or bathroom, stop by the home show this weekend and see our friends at Dreammaker. They're going to be at booth 210. Dennis and Christina. The home show this weekend at the Rhode Island Convention Center. Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday 10 to 4. And again, booth 210. Stop by and see Dennis and Christina at Dreammaker. Now, your dream kitchen is waiting for you with my friends. There they are, Dennis and Christina at Dreammaker. They have a beautiful design center. located Greenwich Avenue in Warwick. Now, where's that? Sounds familiar. It is right near Crown Plaza, right next to Kachai, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen, state of the art. We did a live stream there. It is so impressive. So one-stop shop, they take you from concept to completion. And with Dennis and Christina in Dreammaker, folks, respect, integrity, customer focus. It's Dream Maker experience, upgraded living. Upgraded living with your bath and kitchen remodel today, enhancing lives, improving homes. Dream Maker, and they're going to be at booth 210 this weekend at the Home Show at the Rhode Island Convention Center. Now, the Home Show used to just be in the spring. Now they also have it, obviously, in the fall, in November. This weekend, the Rhode Island Convention Center, booth 210. Stop by and see my friends at Dreammaker. Now, if you check out the website, dpetro.com, you will see many of our Road Patrol video. We have last night's that's going to be dropping later today. Don't forget depetro.com. Brought to you by the Cohasset Inn, 226 Cohasset Avenue, West Warwick. Perfect spot for holiday get-together, celebration. Maybe you're going to have a reunion. They can accommodate. They can accommodate a group of 150. They can accommodate a group of 25. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge, plus the market at Cohasset. The Cohasset Inn. Plenty of safe, free parking. 226 Cohasset Avenue, West Warwick. It's the Cohasset Inn. And don't forget also, perfect spot for that collation lunch, the Cohasset Inn. Now, I want to address on, folks, those of you that watch Road Patrol, and I also want to clarify, I don't think I need to, obviously, but just to clarify, it is my belief that, we're still in the United States of America, at least for now, or we have a chance to return to it. And it is my contention that there's a way to, cover crime, which we do, in a safe manner. And, there's been some backs and, little bumps and stumbles. We've learned from it. We learn a lot by doing it. Last night was one of those situations. Okay, gang patrol, police pull over some people known to the program, reported gang members in Silver Lake. And then when the police were then clearing, as we were beginning to clear, suddenly the people stopped, decided to come over, and not exactly huge fans of the program. But I want to I want to clarify. I saw a comment on another platform. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but someone mentioned, well, if they said they don't want to be filmed, you really shouldn't be doing it. Hey, listen, this is it is time for the people. What kind of attitude is that? When you are a criminal and the police are interrogating him and searching their car, this business, is that what it is? They don't want filming? Listen, the bad guys never want that. They never want that. So this attitude, well, they said not to film. Like, what are you talking about? There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it safely. As I've said in the past, listen, the chosen one. I don't have a death wish. I just believe there's a way to do this and do it safely. And there was a time years ago that the area had, number one, you had some good reporters at the Providence Journal. Bill Malinowski, who passed away, by the way. It's still so sad. He was such a great reporter. And there were times he and Mike Stanton, they used to do investigative reports, especially Bill Malinowski was really tied in, organized crime. And you had, and I'm talking 20 years ago, but you had Jim Tarracani at NBC 10. You had Jack White, Channel 12. And I always thought that, they did good reports on crime. And that's why, we do it a little bit differently and we take it to another level. But there's an appetite. And the thing about crime is it affects everyone. And also the platform and method we use it with Road Patrol in our command center. Eric, who's a vital part of our operation, his uncle watches the program from Japan. which we wouldn't be able to do if we were just on some local television station. And folks, also, by the way, many of the things I do, I mean, I wouldn't even, the locals, there's no way they would let me do a lot of things that we do, just because, number one, the language sometimes. And with social media, they're very, lenient on that. And you hear that as Jarda last night, as those reported gang members were swearing at the chosen one. But something that I have been talking about, and one of the reasons why I'm very enthusiastic, and I think it's only going to get bigger about the real news, is what does that? It means it's unfiltered. It means you're an adult. This is not, when I say it's not geared for children, I don't mean that it's extremely violent. I don't mean that there's, sexual innuendo or things like that. I'm talking about just the nature of the content is, excuse me, designed for adults. And one of the things that I have talked about, and why I think we're going to become even more successful over the next several years, is the role that the traditional media falls into, which is, there's a reporter 2 years ago that left Channel 6, and she's working in the region in a different capacity. She's no longer on the media side, but she said, when you watch, this was her contention, when you watch the 6 o'clock news, the 11 o'clock news, blah, blah, 10, 12, and 6, it's all the same. And as much as some people may see that as an indictment, I don't think that's the case. I remember when we had the North Kingstown situation, it was on a weekend. This was when the school committee was investigating what to do about the naked fat test coach. And a number of the reporters that were there then sat in a group, and they do kind of a reporter groupthink to make sure everybody basically was working off the same notes. And if you did turn on the news, it was they were all basically the same. So I believe, we don't follow that. I don't believe in that. It's actually very simple. I value people and news sources that tell me something I don't know. It's not always easy to find. People will ask me, do I listen to talk radio down the dial, WBKRO? Well, the answer is I don't. Why? Because they don't tell me anything. They are beyond unplugged. They're like way unplugged. So now, for someone who works whatever in an office somewhere, who doesn't really follow the news, they may tune in and find them very insightful and so forth. For me, it's just certainly not the case. But something that I have talked about, and we've talked about on Road Patrol, excuse me, is the fact that crime is expanding into the suburbs. And something that the local media is not going to cover with this whole business of the Governor McKee, and he does, it's a sanctuary state, but you create a level of lawlessness. When you run a sanctuary city, or whether people realize it or not, Rhode Island is a sanctuary state. And it needs to be reformed, whether it's at the courthouse, where the judges lets many of these ICE detainers go, right to the governor's office. Governor McKee, today, right now, next hour, could rescind. He instructs the ACI and other agencies that report to him, don't hold detainees wanted by ICE. But the problem, as I see it, is you create this area of lawlessness. And one of the problems that people should be concerned about, and I have been saying, is the crime expands into the suburbs. Many of the crime that many times you would just hear about in the inner city, the urban core, which in our area is Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls. Now, there's other pockets of it. Obviously, Woonsocket has crime. Hey, Newport has crime. I mean, every community does. But that basic urban core. So what I think is interesting is, so last night, the Coventry Police Department is investigating an incident, attempted robbery, early this morning. A homeowner reported encountering 3 masked subjects going through their vehicle. One of the subjects pointed a gun at the homeowner after being confronted. and then they fled in a silver vehicle. Police were unable to locate the suspect vehicle in their investigation. No injuries reported. Be on the lookout. Was issued for the vehicle, and the investigation is ongoing. I want to repeat that. So you have a homeowner. That's funny. I think it sounds like, or it looks like there's someone in our driveway. Now, this is Coventry. Many people in Coventry don't lock their cars in their driveway. Many people in Coventry don't lock their doors, as a matter of fact. Homeowner, I think there's someone in our driveway. Goes outside. Oh, there is. There's not only someone in our driveway, there's 3 people, and they're rummaging through a vehicle. And then hey, what's going on? Boom, handgun pointed at them. Now, folks, I listen, that you have not heard of that type of crime in the past. That's something, I don't care what anyone says. As someone that covers crime 7 days a week, that is not typical Coventry crime. But as I have said, many of the criminals that we have, by the way, I want to be I'm not trying to allege that the 3 individuals are illegal. So as a matter of fact, we don't know who they are. My point is, when you run a sanctuary state, which Governor McKee does, he could change it. This aura, this air of lawlessness. And as I have been saying, many of these criminals are going to start there's more and more crime into the suburbs. People are amazed at the crime that they're seeing in Cranston. Much of the crime being committed in Cranston is not being committed by Cranston residents. It's people traveling into Cranston. West Warwick had an armed robbery at the Dollar General. Just 3 weeks ago, we were there. Warwick has had its own challenges with some houses that get set up as drug houses. A lot of the different communities. But folks, there has to be, you can't say to police, we're going to enforce some of the laws, but we're not going to enforce all the laws. It's also very frustrating for local law enforcement. What is, you track someone down, they're here illegally, they're not going to show up for the court date, and boom, they leave. And they're very, very difficult to track. So now I also want to talk about this bridge situation, folks. But here's the point. As I have stated, I don't think the local media is asking the right questions. And that is, for Governor McKee, as I have stated, for him and Mayor Smiley to say, we're not going to turn our police into customs agents. As I have said, they already are. You've already decided to do that by running a sanctuary state and by allowing driving privileges for people who are not citizens. So you can't say suddenly, no, well, I'm not going to, you're already doing it. It's already there. The media doesn't cover it as much. And as I've talked about in the past, I've had different police departments that when someone is apprehended and I ask, what's their immigration status? And they say, you're the only one that asks about that. We had the situation earlier this year, the little boy, Santiago, who was life taken by the father. Now, all of them were illegals. And good luck for local media. They have no interest. Folks, there are local TV reporters. I played the reporter from Channel 10. Her hatred for President Trump is seething through the reports. What you have to ask yourself when you watch some of the local news is, if you had to place a bet, who are they voting for? Who did they go and vote for? Who do they embrace? And there's your answer on what type of news it's going to be. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by AJ Home Improvement. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling, they do it all. It's AJ Home Improvement. If you're thinking of improving your home or your business, maybe you have an unfinished basement, unfinished garage, get the ceilings done, acoustical ceilings. Free quote, free estimate, AJ Home Improvement. I share that Facebook page, 401-323-9252, 401-323-9252, AJ Home Improvement. Now, folks, remember, tomorrow's Friday. Remember, you do have the right to defend yourself. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, stop it in C. George, Post Road in Warwick, right off Route 37, right near Greg's, right near Cosmic Pizza. They are right down the street from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Hey, they have defense shotguns for as low as $200. Stop in and see George at Rhode Island Guns and Ammo, and I share their Facebook page. Now, folks, if you want to, and again at 122, listen, we're going to weave in and out with some of the national news. A lot of this stuff, I think some of it becomes a little bit what I would call inside baseball. Some of the appointments that are made, and who's going to be this cabinet secretary, who's going to be that, and the confirmation hearings. I mean, I pay attention to it as much as anyone else, but we're going to that will be in the ebb and flow. Coventry police searching for stolen car after break-ins. All right, Channel 12 furthers the story. Coventry police have issued a bolo. Be on the lookout. A car that was reported stolen out of Connecticut. Police received a call 3:30 in the morning. That's this morning. 3 masked people were going through a vehicle outside of the home, Haywood Road in Coventry. After approaching the group, the suspects pointed a loaded gun, then drove off in a silver car. The witness gave the police a partial license plate description, which figured out the car was stolen. The car has still not been found. So Haywood Road is, certainly not a main road. I'm looking at it on the map right now. In Coventry, you have some of the more well-known roads like Arnold Road, and then you take Pine. Boy, Harwood Road is pretty much well into Coventry. I'm looking at Tioga Lake, Larchmont Drive in Coventry. And then, so that's buried pretty deep. So it's very possible that they came in from Connecticut. But I want to repeat, that's something that when we would ride with Cranston police, they would talk about people, whether they realize it or not, they have to you got to lock your cars at night. What I meant to say was, listen, President Trump won an overwhelming victory. The Republicans have the House and the Senate. Now let's wait and see as everything plays out. Seth Magaziner, Congressman, as I have stated, the state of Rhode Island is going to be in a difficult position because as of right now, much like Massachusetts, by the way, there's no representation in Washington. Rhode Island and Massachusetts and Connecticut are all on the outside looking in. Rhode Island should have a Republican. There's 2 Congress people in Rhode Island. One of them should be a Republican. I am very confident that next year, in 2026, the Republicans in Washington, they're going to make a full play to try to flip that. Seth Magaziner doesn't even live in the district. He is not there to serve the people of the second district. He is there. His entire existence in Washington is just to follow the Democrat playbook. And folks, as I have told you, right now, Governor McKee, well, I'm not going to listen to anything Trump says. That bridge, look at how they're trying to run damage control. Look at how slippery they are. They're spending a lot of money right now on the Washington Bridge. What are they seeing on the bridge that they're not telling us about? What did they find on the bridge and what's wrong with the bridge that they're not telling us about? So obviously they have found something. I don't feel comfortable riding over that bridge. How much longer is the mayor of East Providence going to just continue to go along with this foolishness of the McKee administration? We're coming up less than a month. December 11th will be the 1-year anniversary that Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee sent Peter Alviti out onto local news live to announce they were closing the Washington Bridge. And what did they say? It'll be closed for 3 months. And this is where we are. Who is it that broke the story? They were looking at a complete demolition. That would be me. I was the one that talked about that. Yep. Um, and the fact of the matter is, we're still not getting accurate information. There's something definitely up right now with the bridge. There are people that don't feel comfortable driving over the bridge. I don't blame them for not feeling comfortable driving over the bridge. I think one of the more disconcerting things is, or elements of this, is just the fact that you don't get straight answers from the McKee administration. I mean, that guy, he's got his own war going with, local media. McKee. Folks, as I have said, with Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, he's not up to the job. And what the Rhode Island officials are doing right now, I believe, look at what's happening in Washington. Tom Homan, boom, he's the border czar. Does Tom Homan seem like the type of guy that's mamby-pamby and unsure of what he's going to do? Now, just even some of the other appointments, as I have been saying, people are saying, oh, and we'll talk, but I don't think Governor McKee's stance is going to affect the bridge funding. Do you understand that they're looking for $500 million for that new bridge? And at the same time, Seth Magaziner and Governor McKee and Matos are all insulting the Trump administration. What do you think Vivek and Elon Musk are going to think of, or what's going to go into their mind when they say, okay, we're for government efficiency? This is a state that the past number of years were given $4 billion to maintain a bridge. The money's all gone. Now the bridge is closed. No one's been fired. No one's been suspended. No one's been demoted. The local mayor just goes along with the talking points of the governor. And now they want $500 million more. What do you think their reaction is going to be? I can tell you it's not going to be the reaction that McKee wants. There's also a pattern that they don't level with you on what's really going on, right? Like Governor McKee, they're kind of sneaky about it, just in the manner of how they were doing some work on that bridge. Now, I am disappointed, and maybe next time around in 2026, the Rhode Island Republican Party, I believe a lot of those East Bay representatives, starting with that Senator Val Lawson, she shouldn't. How can she still be the Senate? She's in lockstep with McKee. All of those people in the East Bay should be flushed out. Now, I do question, how did the Rhode Island Republican Party not land some candidates, frustrated business people that are whatever, to run against these stooges? Channel 12, inspection photos obtained by Target 12 plus internal emails reveal more questions about the wear and tear of the eastbound Washington Bridge after the state was forced to increase traffic to deal with the westbound span closure. Folks, the fact of the matter is there's many people that feel very unsafe traveling over that. And who really has confidence in McKee? He won't sit down for real interviews. What does he do? He hides with his friends. He hides with his, segment, Protect the Governor. He's not, how is it a year later? A year later now, nobody fired, no one demoted, no one suspended. I don't understand the voting habits of the people in the East Bay. I mean, if there was ever an issue that would warrant, folks, look at what the country just said about the Biden-Harris administration. Clean sweep. We don't want it. High prices. People are coming in, getting all these benefits, EBT cards in Massachusetts, kicking people out of shelters. That was a pretty loud, resounding response to the policies of Biden-Harris. Well, I think the same should be in order for the East Bay. I don't get it. But here's the problem, though. In all honesty, you can't beat someone with no one. I don't understand. I was surprised as I look. I was wondering, how did Val Lawson get reelected? And then I looked at her vote total. They didn't put up anyone to run against her. Someone tried in the primary, but listen, these people have proven themselves to be ineffective. The mayor of East Providence, Mayor De Silva, he's got to have an opponent next time around. This is it's an obligation for the elected officials in that side of the bay. They owe it to their constituents to get answers, to get real answers. But I'm telling you right now, the way I see it is the brazenness of Seth Magaziner and McKee. It's like they're daring the new administration to make an example out of them. Dan McGowan said that to his credit. He said, you don't want to be the one they make an example out of, right? Mayor Lorza, in 2016, Mayor Lorza would go on CNN. No, we're not paying attention to anything. This is different this time. You know, the president, he's been president. He's had a chance to look at the landscape. They're very familiar with how to get things done. They also have the complete, majority in the Senate, majority in the House. They're going to move very, very swiftly. But I'm just trying to figure out, if you're the new administration and you have McKee and Matos and Magaziner and Sheldon Whitehouse, and they're basically thumbing their nose at you and giving you the table for one salute, and we're not going to do anything to help you, and Matos with all the name calling, I don't know. Would you hand those people $500 million to fix their stupid? I would think no. Where's that money going to go? All right. So would you give the money to Rhode Island infrastructure, or would you give it to Arizona, who just flipped red? Would you give it to Rhode Island, or would you give it to Nevada that just flipped red? I can answer the question. You would give it to, some of the Republican reps that just won, so then they can go back to their districts. You would give it to those in office in Michigan to make them look good. You're going to give it to Republicans in Wisconsin, to help them and make them look good. And you're certainly going to give the money to Republicans in Pennsylvania to make them look good. Why would they give Seth Magaziner $500 million so he can strut around and say, I got the money for the answer is they're not going to do it. Why would they give Governor McKee that money? The answer is they would not. What you're not being told, by the way, the McKee people will lie about this. They don't even have a design yet. It's so preposterous. I feel bad that we're all living through this. We're living through a high level of incompetence with this administration. But what I have said all along, the only way I am convinced to straighten this place out in parts of Massachusetts, it would have to come from Washington. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Kids Club on the Pike. Remember, birthday parties for children. Are you planning a birthday party for a child, or maybe a team party? Maybe it's for a flag football team or a cheerleading squad or a soccer team. Kids Club on the Pike is designed for that. They're right on the Cranston-Johnson line. Birthday parties, before and after school programs, preschool programs. Kids Club on the Pike. They're located right on Plainfield Pike on the Cranston-Johnson line, right off of 295. Wherever you are in the state, you can make it. It's clean. It's fun. It's a big space. There's a room they have for 2-year-olds. There's a movie theater. There's a room that has Xboxes for older children. There's a 50s style diner. Kids Club on the Pike. You can contact them by calling 401-443-5336, or you can also look for them on Facebook. It's Kids Club on the Pike. Well, folks, good afternoon. This is the real news, and it will remain the real news. What I believe, and when I said the only way that I think that they can really straighten out the state, and it's going to have to come. One of the ways that this is going to happen is it's going to be with the money shortfall. And there is going to be a money shortfall. I'm looking at all these headlines. Eastbound Washington Bridge repairs spark new questions. Here's the problem. You don't get any answers. You don't get any answers from this stuff. I mean, from this department. Who has any the McKee administration? They don't. This is insanity. A normal. Ask yourself this: would this be allowed in the private sector? No one held accountable. The McKee administration. Why do you think Max Wisto wants out? The incompetence is so deep. They want you to think it was an act of God. That bridge was inspected last July, 1 year ago. People were riding over it, and then the Army Navy weekend. It was suddenly right after that closed. But there's another story I want to draw attention to, and that is, I see some of these people on social media, and Instagram is a big one, and there are these younger guys most of the time, and there's all these pep talks. And I believe, and we do this, and we work hard, play hard, all these slogans and all this other stuff. And then you look at them and you say, how is that person successful? Like, I don't believe the talk that they're giving. This story, Attorney General Pina Nerones filed a lawsuit against a real estate broker orchestrating a foreclosure rescue scheme. Folks, there's all kinds of schemes out there. There was the lawyer they recently went after, and then the guy pled guilty. He was running a Ponzi scheme. These people lost their life savings. They start off with, just give me $5,000, give me $10,000, and then the amounts keep going. You give him 10, he gives you back 20. You give him 20, he gives you back 40. Then the people say, let's give him $500,000. Then you don't get any money back. Kyle Saboth, owner of Saboth Team Real Estate, tricked a Providence family into selling their home significantly less than market value. Channel 12 got the complaint. I received this from, I should say, the Attorney General's office. Elderly homeowners, folks. They've lived there the same 30 years. Saboth and his associates preyed upon a family, the homeowners, so they defaulted on their mortgage last May. The payoff for their house, market value, $450,000. The payoff, $62,000, and then they own the house. So one of the Saboth associates approaches them and says, your house is going to get foreclosed on. You missed that. How much would you be willing to sell for it? They said $400,000. And they said, well, if you do a reverse mortgage, blah, 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 and we could do this, and then we'll come on with it. Now, again, this is all according to the Attorney General's office. So the Preferred Property Solutions, this is another one of this Saboth real estate firms. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add our name to the title. We're going to pay off the balance, develop a new mortgage repayment plan, and then we're going to transfer it back to you. Listen, it's not funny. So they say, well, tell you what, we're going to give you $100,000 in order, and then you're going to pay us for the mortgage. But that's not what happened. According to the complaint, in the paperwork, they actually, fine print, are claiming ownership of the home and putting their name on it. So the house is valued at $450,000. Suddenly, this Saboth owns it for $100,000. The homeowners, they keep making payments to Red Balloon Capital. Red Balloon's a good way to describe it. Another real estate firm. Then Saboth lists the home online for sale for $450,000. Listen, this is someone that says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give them $100,000, but then we're going to sell it. Look at that. We make $350,000 just off of these people. So Nerona believes Saboth and his associates violated, it sure sounds like it, deceptive practices law. Saboth took the listing down and promised not to kick the family out of the home. If you're not doing anything wrong, why'd you take the listing down? We deny the allegations in this. Now, so I don't know who this person is, but then I go on Instagram and he's got the pep talk going. He's got the full pep talk going of all these people are, there it is, the Say Both team, Century 21. And he's giving all these pep talks. Work hard, play hard. You got to dream beyond. Think before you speak. All this stuff as if.
Yeah. Good question. A 3-unit or a 2-unit, and the tenant's giving me a really hard time. I would say no problem. I'll just show the other unit. When a buyer comes in, hey guys, look, the tenant on the first floor either is ill or there's something going on.
What I like are the people that are sitting around him thinking like, this is amazing. I'm working for like an Elon Musk. Look at some of these Instagram, building a legacy.
So real estate sales is my passion. That's what I love to do. I'm always do that. I love doing that. I love helping people buy and sell real estate. That's my thing. I know it like the back of my hand. Problem is, if something ever happened to me, I don't have anything to pass it down to my kids. You can't pass down sales from a salesperson. So you got to think outside the box. What does that look like? You need to build up other businesses that have the ability to produce income, to have their own expenses, to run on their own 2 feet, and to move forward. So that's what we've essentially done.
So NBC 10 has this guy on, apparently. You wonder if they're going to get dragged in. Hey, they're putting him out there. NBC 10, whatever show they have, it's like their version of the Road Show from 12:30 to 1. I don't even know who's on it, but so they have this guy on.
That's what I love to do. I'm always doing.
Yeah, you're always doing it all right.
People buy and sell real estate. That's my thing. I know it like the back of my hand. Problem is, if something ever happened to me, I don't have anything.
Building a legacy.
You can't pass down sales from a salesperson. So you got to think outside the box. What does that look like? You need to build up other businesses that have the ability to produce income, to have their own expenses, to run on their own 2 feet, and to move forward. So that's what we've essentially done. In the last 2 years, we've built out a number of different successful businesses that are going to be more successful as time goes on.
You know, Dr. Mata isn't the only one that was running that. Folks, there's so many scams out there. It is ultimate buyer beware. Watch how this thing is going to tumble. No, that's not building a legacy. According to that complaint, that's not work hard. Again, I don't know this guy at all. I've never even seen him on television. I don't know who these people are. But this is like a new thing it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok. There's some guy, I think it's Grant Cardone. You know, it turns out they rent a house and they make it seem like they own the house. They lease cars, they make it seem like they own the cars. It's Bernie Madoff through social media. This stuff is out there. But look at that. Oh, real estate. And I know like the back of my hand and blah, blah, blah. So you find these people that are elderly. They've lived in the same house. How can you imagine living in the same house for 30 years? These people come in and get them unknowingly to sign over to their property to them for $100,000 when it's worth $450,000, and then they're going to put it up for sale, and then they have to leave. But they're out there. They're out there, folks. I want to remind you about Watson Materials, largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island, located South County Trail, East Greenwich. Watson Materials. Call them, request a quote, 401-885-0600. Remember, landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone. You can unlock unilock Fairstone, cobblestone, decorative stone. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Call them today, 401-885-0600, 401-885-0600, Watson Materials. That attorney that I mentioned, that guy, he was ripping off his relatives. He ripped off his cousin. There was the woman, Monique Brady. I think she's out. I think she got out of prison. She got out of jail. She was ripping off family and friends. I think there should be more consumer awareness out there for many of this, because people, but folks, it's everywhere actually. I just read that Brazil has this major gambling problem. Brazil, somehow online gaming has become legal in Brazil, and it has turned the country upside down. People are are losing. I mean, they're so in debt and losing money. Um, it there's a lot of that. Remember, the house always wins. The house always wins. People don't want to hear that, but it's absolutely true. But when I hear these types of stories, but then I don't know. I'm unfamiliar that this guy goes on NBC 10 other than in his Instagram video.
That are going to be more successful as time goes on.
He's on NBC 10. So they feature him, and he's this real estate guru. Gee, how does he do it? How does he make it happen? Wow, how does, this person and then this, how is this guy doing it? How did he build it in 3 years? Suddenly flipping all this. He has all these people. Where's the video? These people are saying, what's the hype all about? And there's all these people saying, what's the hype? What's the hype?
What's the hype about? What's the hype about?
What's the hype about?
What's the hype about? What's the hype about?
Limitless, unlimited.
So what's the hype about? We're not your traditional brokerage.
We started Century 21 Limitless about 3.5 years ago, and we recently just surpassed the 250 agent mark. And we've really just done a stellar job to start off really as a brokerage of just one being.
Folks, it's the Wolf of Wall Street is what it is. That's what it is. You pull in, everybody's driving a nice car. Everyone seems to be well dressed. People are making money. Then the attorney general comes knocking. See these people? You just took their home. You took their home. They trusted you. Now, I saw a comment from this. Again, I don't know this individual at all. But there's no way they're alone. There's no way he's the only one out there. That said that the quote was from whoever the attorney is. Everything we did was absolutely legal. Well, we're going to find out about that. The Attorney General Peter Nerona, you get on his radar. Let's see where this thing goes. We saw this. We always hear this type of stuff we heard it with Dr. Mata, with some of this stuff. The people that were buying his crypto. And then they do a video. Look at that. The guy just bought a car with, whatever the Mata thing was, the Mata crypto or whatever the hell it is. Well, suddenly you have all these people that are out Mata cryptocurrency. Folks, I want to remind you, if you need any type of lawn care or tree service, JD's Lawn Care, 401-441-0154, 401-441-0154, JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. If you need fall cleanup or you need your branches trimmed, call them. I share their Facebook page, JD Lawn Care and Tree Service. Get some of those trees trimmed, 401-441-0154. I don't enjoy doing stories like that, but there's so many slippery people out there. And these, there's just what social media I find is almost unleashed is this. It's just this new wave of it's all get rich quick schemes. That's what they are in essence. But the people that they do seem on social media, on TikTok or Instagram. Look at this house. Not only do they not own the mansion, then they're squatters in the mansion. They fraudulently fill something out. They are suddenly living there. They're filming all their videos there. And then the person that actually owns it has a tough time getting them out of there. And then they rent a Ferrari for the day or 2 days and do all this filming. And people see it and think, wow, these people really have it going. But that, I don't know the people involved with this real estate scheme that was going on. But I just noticed sometimes people on social media. And there are people that you say, okay, that makes sense, right? Like I believe, I give an example like that, Bill Ackman. He's on X. The guy is brilliant. He's a billionaire. He runs very successful company in New York. You listen to him. He is someone that you're not surprised that he has been wildly successful. But then you get some of these other individuals, and you need the Attorney General of Rhode Island. I think they need more teeth in law enforcement to go after some of this stuff. He also, by the way, he also mentioned when they were investigating Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee with that contract, he was saying Rhode Island law is somewhat weak in that area. He said that on Channel 12, the Attorney General, and said, we should change the law to make it tougher on some of this stuff. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Now listen, if a great investment in your home or business, get that driveway paved or parking lot paved. J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730, letter J. J. Perry Paving. They're licensed and insured. If you're listing right now on this Thursday on AM 1380 or 99.9 FM, or maybe you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or X, call J. Perry Paving today. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service, free estimate for any project. I share their Facebook page. You can also find them online. Letter J, jperrypaving.com, or call them at 401-732-1730. And remember, no one is better to veterans than J. Perry Paving. No one. They have a special package. Maybe your grandfather was a veteran. Maybe your dad or mom or son or boyfriend or daughter or girlfriend or nephew or uncle. 401-732-1730, letter J. J. Perry Paving. Well, folks, good afternoon. Again, we will be doing Road Patrol Live later. I think the Coventry situation is a wake-up call. What people need to understand is, in California, they're going to rescind the law that initially theft, shoplifting was a misdemeanor. And what did you see as a result of that? You'd see actual video of someone, a lot of times with a mask on, and going into a drugstore or a store and literally stealing everything off the shelf. And the people would stand there and not do anything. They have found, maybe we shouldn't have that. And they're going to change the law on that. The blue states, Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut, if you're a criminal, and especially there are bands of criminals that have entered the country, you're going to go where there's lawlessness. You're going to gravitate towards areas that are soft on crime. Rhode Island has very liberal judges that lets these criminals out. I hear from police forces every day that they're shocked that they come around a corner or they stop someone and they say, I arrested this guy 2 years ago for a violent crime. How is he back on the street? It's because the revolving door, the state house puts up progressive judges, and then the judges just let them out. I was doing an interview just about 2 weeks ago, and I was telling someone, and they are out of state, and it's a crime show, that what people don't understand is life in prison in Rhode Island. So someone is given life. Now, what does that mean to you? You would think they're in prison for the rest of their life. In Rhode Island, it actually means they just got a 20-year sentence, and they could be out within 15. So if you have someone who's 25 and they're given a life sentence, and the family thinks, all right, well, thank God, at least they're going to be locked up for it. Well, actually, they're going to be out by the age of 40. So that needs to change. The lawlessness needs to change. Now, this guy, Kyle Saboth, he still has all his videos up. Again, I don't know this guy at all. I'm going off what the Attorney General put out. There was another guy. There's a guy in Cumberland, and he, in essence, was doing this scheme. I forget his name, and they do podcasts actually where they do, they film themselves and they talk about, you can do this. You got to have the dedication. Then it comes to the commitment and blah, blah, blah. And this whole big deal. They actually don't know what they're talking about. And he was dragged into federal court. Same thing. What's he doing? He's doing an investment firm. And people were giving him investments. And then what happened? The money's gone. And then they see pictures of him. This guy in Cumberland, whose name escapes me, but the person, somebody invested $300,000 with this guy. Suddenly, no return phone calls, no emails returned. And then he sees pictures. He's taking a private jet. He's in Europe. He's got expensive clothes. He's got expensive cars. Guess where the $300,000 went? I think we know where the $300,000 went. It's gone. It is long gone, as a matter of fact. We'll see what happens with that realtor. I see a lot of realtors on, Instagram and Facebook, and I get the whole thing. A lot of these people say, boy, that seems good. I'll work hard. Yeah, I'd like to make that kind of money. And then you realize, according to the complaint, boy, that's a pretty good way to make a profit. If you have someone has a house that's worth $450 and you manage to have them sign it off to you for $100. So you make a profit of $350,000 on one house. Okay, that's illegal, by the way, but that's definitely one way to make money, folks. This portion of our program brought to you by Propane Plus. Call them today, 401-885-4209, 401-885-4209, and online at propaneplus.com. Well, folks, good afternoon again. 1:59 on this Thursday. Again, if you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. And then everyone else, we will be back with Road Patrol Live later. We'll see what happens with some of these Democrat governors, whether it's Governor McKee, Governor Healy, now the governor of Illinois. We're not going to go along with this stuff. Well, we'll see about that. There has to be law and order. Something's got to be done about the lawlessness. Check out our website, depetro.com. I will see everyone later on when we're live with Road Patrol.